Okay, so a little bit about me. I mentioned that I'm a public servant. I'm coming up to 4 years in the public service, and in those 4 years I've had many different roles. I've done a lot more than most new public servants would do. So I started off in medical records, and then I moved to family law, and then I even dabbled in the national security space for a little bit, and national security resilience, and now I'm in employment services research and evaluation. So I've had such a vast range of experience, and I've learnt so much, and I've met so many amazing people, but something's missing. I've noticed that in the past, probably the past 2 years, it's taken me a lot quicker to feel restless with a particular role. And I thought maybe it was because I needed the content change. But now I think it's more than just the content change. I feel as though I'm boxed in by this particular career space, and I would really love to go and try something new, something that really speaks to me. So that's why I'm going on this freelancing journey. So just before we left for Europe, I was actually turned down for a promotion, and I was absolutely devastated at the time. I felt like that particular year was the best performance that I had given in my entire public service career, which granted is not very long, but I really felt like I'd gone above and beyond that year. I'd stepped up and managed a project in my director's absence. I was given responsibility for 2 large projects of my own, and the feedback that I'd received along the way was positive, and I really felt like I'd grown. I didn't feel like that I deserved this promotion just for deserving it. I really felt like that I had developed and grown and really shown that I could step up and take responsibility, and that perhaps this might be the year for a promotion, but it wasn't meant to be. So then we went to Europe, and Europe has been a trip that I have dreamed about for a very, very long time. We travelled through UK, France, Italy, Austria, Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands. And while we were there, I noticed that there were so many people doing their own thing, and the things that they were doing were things that they wanted to be doing, and that they were passionate about, and things that they believed in, and they had created a life around it. And sitting there and watching these people, I realized that I used to want that, and I wondered what happened. What happened to the girl that used to want to do a job that she believed in, that she loved, and that she loved creating a life around it? At some point in this career, I got caught up in the need to rise up and be promoted and be given more responsibility. And I'd forgotten that that wasn't the original goal in the first place. Along the way, I lost that passion, and I lost that drive. And watching other people do that for themselves, make a life out of it for themselves, it was really inspiring. The most inspiring day, though, and this was such a turning point for me personally, and such a turning point on the entire trip, was the day that we travelled to Amsterdam. It was It was the weekend and we had Euro passes, but I thought that we needed to reserve seats. So we ended up in a handicap cart on the train. So it's the seats that are usually reserved for people with disabilities or that sort of thing. In that cart was a musician, and we got talking, and yeah, we just told each other, we just talked about what we were doing. We talked about life really, and so this particular musician had started his career about 3 years ago, and like anybody else just starting out doing their own thing, he had needed to work a day job as well. But now he'd reached a point in his career where he didn't need to work a day job and he was actually on tour. And I thought, wow, that is really, really cool. He himself never thought that this would be a career, and he himself had doubts when he first started. He thought, can music be a career? Can I make a living out of it? And 3 years later, he'd gotten to a point where that was all he got to do, that was all he wanted to do. And it was fantastic to hear his story. I've said inspiring a lot, but that's what it was. And then, halfway along the trip, a little old lady joined us in the cart. And we didn't get talking to her until after the musician had gotten off the train. She was such a wonderful lady, and she was so happy with where she was in life. She told us that morning she had just buried her brother. She'd been to his funeral. She was going home. And even though it was a really sad day for her, she still managed to joke about death. She said, oh, I'm at that age where my friends and family are dying. She said, who knows? Maybe next it'll be me. And she laughed, and it wasn't a sarcastic laugh. It was a genuine joke. And then she told us a little bit about her. She had been a school teacher, and during the school holidays, she travelled the world. And recently she had travelled to Canada and then dropped in on her sister on the East Coast and then travelled across the United States all the way to the West Coast. And she was in her late 70s, early 80s. She was by no means young. It was so obvious that she was so satisfied with the life that she had lived. And I was sitting there listening to her thinking, I want that. I want to be able to say that at the end of the day, that like this musician, I did everything in my power to do what I wanted to do and have no regrets and be able to laugh and joke about life and death like this woman. That is where I'm coming from on this Freelance Apprentice journey. So by the time we upload these videos, I'm going to be back at work. I've just finished a 10-week period of leave where we travelled Europe, and I've spent these past 2 weeks at home, but I've been working on these projects, a variety of different projects, and taking up several freelancing jobs that I absolutely enjoy and absolutely believe in. So I'd love to see if I can make a life out of that. So what I plan on doing this year is spending more time writing. I've been published in a local Canberra magazine, unpaid, as I'm a contributor. And so far they have published everything that I've submitted. So that tells me maybe, that just seems a little bit too easy. So that tells me I need to branch out and try a broader market. I'm aiming big. I'm aiming at the international market at the moment. I also teach ballet ballet and contemporary on a relief basis at a local non-for-profit adult dance centre. I'd like to do more teaching, so the aim is to become more proficient at ballet teaching and just get a little bit more experience. There isn't a lot on offer in the adult dance market in Canberra, so we'll just see what opportunities come my way. The other thing that I'll be looking at doing is freelancing my business management skills. I think I will just aim low for the time being and make mistakes in a place where there is room to make mistakes. So that's me for this year. We'll see how it goes, but for me this freelance apprentice journey this year is going to be very much about having no regrets. Absolutely no regrets.